Mark Matthebane's The Kaffir Boy, an autobiography about his life during the apartheid of black South Africans and white South Africans, is set during the 1960s in South Africa. Mark and his family of black South Africans are exposed to many hard decisions, brutal living conditions, hunger, violence, and putting their perseverance to the test. Although Mark's father is very absent during his childhood and does not treat his family well or manage the money correctly, he gives Mark the determination to be better than he is. Mark's mother sees this determination in Mark and goes through many tough obstacles to put him in school. When Mark realizes how much trouble his mother went through to get him in school, he describes how he felt. I simply grumbled, little realizing that my entire future had actually depended on that one piece of paper she had fought so long and so doggedly to secure. I had, though I hardly knew it then, cleared the first of the most difficult hurdle toward my eventually enrolling at school. Without the birth certificate, I would not have been allowed to enroll at any of the tribal schools in Alexandria, Mathabane, LOC 3014. Although at first Mark does not appreciate his mother putting him in school, when he matures he sees it for the better. Mark's father was never a huge part in his life. When he was a child, he was always out drinking, gambling, or looking for a new job. Mark's father never took care of his family, he would beat them. Since his father was under the influence most of his childhood, he never had a father figure him and his siblings could look up to. When his father would beat him, he would always ask the question, "Why does he beat me up?" Mark's mother always answered the question, "He wants you to grow up to be like him." Mark was always confused by the fact that none of his friends' fathers beat them up. "Why does he beat me then?" I protested. "Other fathers don't beat their children." My friends always boasted that their fathers had never laid a hand on them. LOC 894. When Mark's mother enrolled him into school, he was not very happy. He did not understand why he needed to go to school when no one else went in his family. As Mark matured, he understood why his mother enrolled him. He quickly grew to understand the importance of his education and is grateful that his mother went through the trouble of getting his papers so he could go to school. As Mark became more involved with his schoolwork, he made his way up to the top of his class. Mark making his way up to the top of his class allowed him many opportunities. When his grandmother began gardening for a white family, they gave Mark many books. This allowed Mark to expand his knowledge and become a better student. The Smith family also gave Mark a tennis racket. This allowed Mark to become a tennis player and join the tennis team. While on the tennis team, he befriends another black tennis player, and he begins to train him. As many doors open for Mark, he gains practice and becomes a good tennis player. Scholarship opportunities arise with his schoolwork ethic and tennis playing. Mark receives a prestigious offer from colleges including Princeton and Limestone College, all of which are in the United States of America. Mark is faced with the tough decision of staying in South Africa with his family or furthering his education in America. As Mark decides to go to America and attend Limestone College, he learns to forgive his father for all the things that he's put his family through, and thanks his mother for the pain and hardship she went through to get him his education. He reminds his brother to take care of his family and forgive his father for all the things that he has done. A central theme in this novel is hope and intrinsic drive. Throughout the novel, we not only see Mark, but also his mother exemplify this theme. Mark's mother is so determined to get him in school, she goes through so much trouble to get his papers in order so that he could get an education. She hopes that he will get an education after she gets his papers. She has the drive to get the papers in order because she knows he will succeed after he attends school. After Mark realizes what his mother has done for him, he appreciates it. He begins to have the drive to do better. This is shown when Mark makes it to the top of his class. He also has the drive to practice more and more for tennis to become better. Mark has the hope in the novel that he will succeed at Limestone College. In chapter 52, Mark and his mother were talking about the job he was offered. His mother asked him if he was going to take it. He replied that he was not going to. He was determined to hear back from America. After the letter from Stan came, he became relieved. The letter was a welcome relief. It took my mind off brooding over the second class pass. I immediately sat down to reply. I told Stan and Mary Jo that I had passed the mail sulication, but omitted mentioning that it was a second class certificate. My mother asked me one morning what I had planned to do now that I had completed school. "Are you going to take the job from Simba Chips Company?" she asked. "No," I said. "What are you going to do?" she said. "You can't go to the university with a second class pass, can you?" "Yes. So what are you going to do?" "I'm going to wait till I hear news from America." "You still dreaming about going to America?" my mother sighed. "How can you go to America with a second class pass?" "They'll take me," I said. If I were you, I'd stop dreaming and start working." "I don't have a pass," I offered as an excuse. "Then go get one." LOC 8024. On August 13, 2013, a 23-year-old woman photographer was gang raped in Mumbai. The police have identified one of the 5 men taking place in the rape. We have made one arrest so far, but all the accused have been identified, according to a city's police commissioner, Zaitai Pal Zingai, who earlier said 5 men took part. This relates to the Kaffir boy. When Mark was on his way home, he ran into the local gang. He described since the riots broke out that the gang has increased their assault and rape rates. I trembled as the circle tightened around me. Since the riots broke out, Jaharvis and his gang had increased the reign of terror. They robbed, raped, and assaulted and murdered. As I watched them closely, I could see that one of them were armed with knives, tomahawks, and machetes. I had to act quickly.